welcome back to the Adelaide Oval, where England need 247 runs for victory. The West Indians, after 50 overs, were 5 for 246. Viv Richards 88, Greenwich 50, Kallicharran 57, and the run rate needed is 4.94 runs per over. A very tough task for Trimmer.
It's not going to be easy, Bill. It's a good wicket. It's a fast outfield, so that total might not be as large as it looks. But the West Indies, they have their runs in the bank, so to say, and it's now up to England to get them. If England do get them, it will be a very good victory indeed. I think the firepower of the West Indies might just be a little bit too much, Bill.
That's going to be Andy Roberts to bowl to Graham Gooch. Gooch partnered by skipper Brealey. A very little bounce there for the right arm pace man. Perfect batting wicket. Fast outfield, as Fred Truman has mentioned. An ideal seeing day. Large crowd in attendance. They saw some magnificent batting from the West Indians. Greenwich and Richards and Kallicharran really turning on the power this morning. Clive Lloyd starting off with 2 slips in the gully. And the third man on the onside. The bouncer, which up the road.
That was a good bouncer from Andy Roberts. It came back off the wicket at Graham Gooch. But he played it pretty well. He kept his eyes on the delivery. He was able to get inside it in the finish, which is the correct way to play the bouncer, of course.
Scamper through for single. England underway. The Englishman bowled pretty steadily, and both of them by far the best, with 2 for 35 off 10. Supported well by Lever, Embury, Stevenson and Willie. I must take into consideration that this is a very, very good batting wicket. Very difficult for the bowlers.
It's the England bowlers let the West Indies get away with it towards the end of their innings.
That's the end of the first over. No wicket for 1. Clive Lloyd having a long discussion. It's going to be Michael Holding to bowl from the Cathedral end. Michael Holding, probably the fastest of the West Indian bowling attack. Going to bowl to 2 slips in the gully. Clive Lloyd looking for early wickets. has runs to play with, 246 on the board. Trying to break through the early England batsmen. Ames the fieldsman, 2 runs. Derek Parry, substitute fieldsman at mid-off for Gordon Greenwich, who's suffered a shoulder injury. Graham Gooch having a look at this wicket. He's a man in form. The ball will be coming onto the bat. He'll be looking for those short boundary square of the wicket. Fine player, Graham Gooch.
Graham Gooch watching that delivery again, taking the bat out of the way as the ball went through on the offside. He'll be settling down, having a little bit of a look. There you see Graham Gooch taking the bat out of the way and letting the ball pass harmlessly through. It's a good batting wicket. There's not a great deal of pace in it. I think it'll be a case of what you put in, you get out.
The Englishman needing just on 5 runs per over to win this match. I doubt whether you'd get a better batting wicket than this, Fred. It's ideal.
Yes, the Adelaide wicket has always been a good batting wicket. As one of last year's spectators.
Lawrence Rowe in the gully. That's square of the wicket. Roberts coming through quickly, but cannot restrict the shot, and it's 2 runs. The end of the over. It's no wicket for 5. Andy Roberts to Mike Brearley. Beats him, that could be out. Yes, that's out. Caught behind the ball, leaving the right-hander.
That's the first wicket gone down with only 5 runs on the board. That's a bitter blow for England. Not really. But a bit late actually there, Bill, in getting across. His feet were together with the bat away from his body, and then he didn't get right across it.
No need to play. The ball wide of the off stump, shuffled across the crease and got a thickish edge. And Andy Roberts has broken through, and that's a vital breakthrough for the West Indians. England 1 for 5. Peter Willey, the new batsman, to the crease. Peter Willey, very useful one-day cricketer. Gets it away nicely off his pads. Two runs.
Shot there from Peter Willey, I think, gives you some idea how quick this wicket is. He just pushed that ball away off his pads.
Quicker delivery from Roberts. Not fending outside the off stump. It's Brearley shuffling across the crease, and Murray does the rest. Not really picking up the line of that delivery, Mike Brearley.
And the jubilation on Clive Lloyd's face was showing there. He desperately wants to win this one.
Andy Roberts just appears to be getting his rhythm right. He struggled early this summer, but now he's approached the wicket as free. He's bowling just outside the line of the off stump. The end of a good over from Andy Roberts. The wicket of Brearley. It's 1 for 7. Clive Lloyd with the early wicket of Brearley. And concentrate with the catching cordon. 2 slips in a gully. They're quite happy, the West Indians. They're scored 246. A little bit of pad trouble out there for the English batsman. Graham Gooch. Probably one of the keys to this match, Fred. Gooch, he's such an attacking batsman.
Yes, he likes to play himself in first, but he also does like to hit the ball, and he's a little bit bigger, stronger person than you think he is when you get close to him. He normally goes in first with his county, Essex, because he was a member of the side last year, Graham Gooch, that won the county championship, the first time Essex have ever won it in, I think it's 103 years history of the club. And they also won the Benton and Hedges Cup at Lord's when Graham Gooch made a century and was the first player to make a century in the final.
Michael Holding. Gooch only playing balls he has to. This season's one-day performances average of 22. He's been useful also with the ball and is a magnificent field. Only 26. Making his second tour of Australia.
Yes, he'll be there for another 7 or 8 seasons, I would imagine, in the England side. Made a great test debut, one he wants to forget. He bagged a pair at Birmingham against Australia.
His partner, Peter Willey, a very useful one-day cricketer. Bowls off spin and is probably one of the most dangerous of the English batsmen. He really gives the ball a hammer. And this year his performances have been excellent, an average of 49.2 in 7 matches. It's a good performance, batting number 3.
That's Peter Willey, another batsman that goes in usually first for Northampton, his side in the one-day stuff.
Haynes fires at the stumps and strikes Gooch's bat. Thomas King backs up. That's what the Englishmen have to do, Fred. They have to pick up the short runs and get as many 4s as possible, but they can't afford to be contained.
That's very true. They've got to be looking for those quick singles. And also the West Indies, they're excitable cricketers. And they'll have a ping at the stumps from anywhere. There could be quite a few overthrows on. But Peter Willey, he's had a pretty useful season. On his first tour, he's made 350s in the one-day matches, so I think he can be feeling very satisfied with his first overseas trip and also gaining a lot of very valuable experience.
Michael Holding bowling a very good line, not getting down the leg side. He's bowling to his field, round about the off stump. That's a good line, Fred, isn't it?
It's a very good line. That's where he wants to be bowling, and for the first 10 or 15 overs, they want to be pinning England back as far as they can, getting that scoring rate up to somewhere between 5 or 6. Really putting the pressure on, because this is one match they've got to win.
It's nice deflection. Well taken by Murray. Derek Murray encouraging his fieldsman. Very experienced cricketer. Great backstop for Clive Lloyd, vice captain.
Yes, he's one of those players the West Indies are fortunate to have. He His man who keeps very cool under pressure, Derek Murray. Him and Andy Roberts is another one who keeps his cool as well.
Looking for one, but Collis King in quickly. At the end of the over, Michael Holding, it's 1 for 11. Very big crowd at the Adelaide Oval. Conditions ideal. The large crowd enjoying every minute of this match. They've seen some exciting batting from the West Indians, and now the Englishmen, there they are in force to really work hard for victory. England in force at the Adelaide Oval. Well, they might be. They're playing very well in the limited over matches.
For Derek Murray there, can't make ram all the time.
Andy Roberts bowling very good line and length, just short of a length outside the off stump. Tremendous bowler, this man. Nice action, good control. Willie coming onto the front foot, but not offering a shot.
Yeah, a lot of the batsmen say that Andy Roberts is one of the hardest bowlers to score off, especially in one-day cricket.
You've been busy this morning, Fred?
Seems to have a few from the tribe there. Yorkshireman. The tribe in the North Bill, which I belong to.
Good tight over from Andy Roberts, supporting his captain. Beautiful build for a fast bowler. He's wiry and doesn't very often let his side down. Captain's delight, Andy Roberts. A maiden over from Roberts. 1 for 11. One for 11. It's a good shot, and it's brilliantly fielded. Magnificent fielding. It's chance for a run out. Doesn't make it. The bowler drops the ball. Oh, that was magnificent fielding at square leg. Desmond Haynes threw himself full length. Desperate effort. This is what one-day cricket's all about.
Gooch was certainly looking for 4 runs there. have been a bit tight, wouldn't it, Bill, if the ball had been taken?
Disappointing effort by Michael Holding at the bowler's end, because Haynes was magnificent. Tried to take the throw one-handed. Joel Garner, key bowler in the West Indian lineup. Roberts, Holding, King, Garner, the pacemen in this side. I'll go across to David Colley with some news on Gordon Greenwich.
Thank you. Yes, I've just been up to the West Indian dressing room. There's no dramas. Gordon Greenwich is back from hospital. He's had x-rays and there's no broke in the collarbone area. He's got a badly bruised collarbone and he's having trouble lifting his right arm. It's being ice pack treated at the moment, but they're quite confident he'll be okay in the next day or so. So back to you.
Thank you, David. It's good news for the West Indian camp and Gordon Greenwich. That's a quicker delivery from Holding. You could see him really working in that run-up. Big stride and the follow-through. And a dead wicket. He got some lift there and it was well played by Willie, who kept it down.
I think it might have been something that could hook Bill on this wicket. I think it was just about the right place. That it was going a little bit over leg and middle, inside it, short boundary. But he doesn't hook a lot, Peter Willie. The short ball outside the off stump, he'll have a slash at that.
Into the over from Michael Holding. 1 for 12. England 1 for 12. The West Indians were no wicket for 20 in the same situation. 6 overs completed. It's going to be Andy Roberts to continue. 3 overs, 1 for 3. Lawrence Rowe at cover point.
Graham Gooch looking to play a few shots on this wicket. It's a good batting wicket, and Graham Gooch can get in and play something like a longish innings. It'll do him a lot of good.
Clive Lloyd appears to have this just right at the moment. He's talking to his fieldsman. He's got a ring of fieldsmen on the offside for Andy Roberts, and Roberts bowling perfect line and length, just short of the length outside the off stump, and that's the protection for Roberts, keeping the Englishman under control. Very hard to work a ball from there, and it's coming in just outside the line of the off stump. Glorious shot. Slightly over pitch and Gooch into the cover drive. Placed it beautiful.
The crowd enjoying the shot. Just over pitched. Graham Gooch punching that ball through the gap in the covers. Hit that ball very hard. See that ball really whistle across the turf. Very fast outfield here today.
Whoop, beats him. Kept a little bit low, that one.
I think he might have got an edge on this, Bill. Underneath and didn't quite carry. I think he probably got a touch on that. And didn't quite carry. Didn't get up at all, that ball. Kept a bit on the low side.
That's a glorious shot. That's the type of shot that could qualify for the Pacific Film Shot of the series. Glorious shot from Graham Gooch. The end of the over. It's 1 for 20. And it's 1 for 20. Michael Holding to bowl his fourth over. I just feel that Willie and Gooch could be the key to the England chances this afternoon. And reasonably at ease. And working the ball well. One more to Peter Willie. Graham Gooch has the talent, Fred, to hit the loose ball for 4.
Oh, yes. And as he goes on in cricket, you can see him really starting to improve his game. He's starting to look like a Test cricketer now. I had my doubts about him right at the beginning when he first started, but, you know, he's worked his game. He's worked very hard. He's a very likeable young man. And it's now starting to pay off. He's starting to find out where his off stump is. And he's not frightened to play the shot when the ball's there.
Yes, I agree, Fred. I feel that he's one of the fortunate players that always seems to put the loose ball away for 4. I can remember Graham Pollock, Gary Sabers, and Ted Dexter. Whenever you bowled a bad ball, they put it away. Not striking it to the mid-off or mid-on or to the cover. They found the gap all the time.
All the great players, that's why they got so many runs. They had that ability. When the bad delivery came along, they didn't only hit it, but they placed it as well. And Graham is doing well. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet, Bill.
That was fairly well played. That was a good delivery from Michael Holding. That took off. He was half in position to play.
He's in position to play, and then he took his bat away in the finish, but I think we give credit to the bowler there. I think he played at it, Bill. But it was a very good delivery. That one really whistled through on this wicket, which I think could be termed as a good batting wicket with not a lot of pace. And that was a very quick delivery.
Nice shot. Beats Garnett mid-on. Slightly over pitch there. Coming back to 3. And return by the big man. Beautiful arm. The West Indians and the England sides have fielded very well in the Benson Hedges World Cup Series. have made Australia ordinary in the field, I think, and this has been probably one of the differences between the three sides. The West Indies and England, brilliant in the field. That throw was no exception.
It's a very long throw from the big man, and he just seemed to very loosely lob that ball to the wicketkeeper, but he did go a long way. Michael Holding trying something different there. He came racing in and bowled the slower delivery. Good thinking.
Colourful crowd here at the Adelaide Oval, one of the best crowds I've seen here for a while. We see Holding off the short run. The end of the over, the 8th over, it's 1 for 24. A mid-wicket conference between Willie and Gooch. Tactics are so important in limited over matches, not only for the fielding captain and fieldsmen and bowlers, but especially for the batsmen when they have a target of around about 5 runs per over to win a match.
Clive Lloyd's really taking this match serious. He knows it's so important to them. There's no slip now. And for once in our lives we see the West Indies with a deep cover point right on the boundary edge.
Collis King, and he's clean bowling. First ball. Change of tactic. King coming on from the city end. Bowled Gooch with what appeared to be a change of pace. Vital breakthrough for the West Indian side.
A very vital wicket for the West Indies because this man's in form. Didn't play too well in the finish. He probably came back a little bit off the wicket. And Graham Gooch cannot believe it. But the stumps are down. There's a wicket for Collis King, and England are now 2 wickets down for 24.
Collis King, 1 for naught, and Wayne Larkins comes to the crease.
Wayne Larkins, I can't understand the thinking in the England side at the present moment. I don't know why Mike Brayley should suddenly decide to come in first. He's been batting down the order nearly all the time. I think he might have opened against the West Indies at Sydney in one match. But Wayne Larkins is an experienced opener that plays in that position all the time.
I possibly think Fred, that he probably feels he doesn't get on with the game enough down the middle order for one-day cricket. But this is how Gooch went. The ball seemed just to cut back slightly, inside edge, onto the middle stump. And there's just a change of bowl, a change of tempo, and Collis King breaks through. Getting back to Mike Brearley, is when you're an opening batsman and haven't got a lot of shots, I don't think you're much better. You're batting 7 or 8 in one-day game, so I think that Brearley probably took a punt and went in first. try and get the side a start in the early overs. Unfortunately for him, it failed. He possibly feels that Wayne Larkins on strike will do better down the list.
So Wayne Larkins hasn't had a great deal of cricket on this tour. But he's another youngster gaining experience. He's 26. This is one-day matches in his career. He's played 123 of them, 2,357 runs, 10 50s, 2 hundreds. That's not a bad performance. And his highest score is 111 versus Leicestershire in 1979. And he'd be delighted about that century against Leicestershire, because that's something of a needle match in cricket in England, between Northamptonshire and Leicestershire, two counties bordering each other.
And that's the end of a wicket taking over for Collis King. It's 2 for 24. England 2 for 24. Changing the commentary team, it's Tony Gregg and Tony Cozier.
Change in bowling. Joel Garner going to come on, taking over from Michael Holding, 4 overs for 13 runs. England are 2 for 24. Roberts 4 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 11, replaced by King. And Holding 4 overs, no maidens, no wicket for 13, now replaced by Garner. So here's Garner's first delivery. Well, that was a bad shot by Willie. Really didn't have any room. The ball coming back into him. Everything wrong with it.
Certainly was a good delivery. Ball nipping back and being over the top of the stumps. It's always a difficult time for the batsman when there's a change in the bowling. And he's inclined to forget that all the angles are different, and you need really to get used to.
Desmond Haynes out there. Haynes with a brilliant save in the field early on, which almost brought a run out, in fact. One of the better West Indian fielders, and young man on his first official tour of Australia.
Lawrence Rowe, the fielder there. Willie on 4. Larkins yet to score. 2 for 24.
Two batsmen here from the same county of Northamptonshire, Peter Willey and Wayne Larkins. And in fact, together last season they had a record partnership for the first wicket in the John Player League, which is a competition with a 40 overs per team limit. They added 202 for that first wicket, and that's a record for that competition. In fact, both the batsmen and the bowlers here in operation come from the same teams. Northants for Larkins and Willie, and Barbados, and also the same club team, YMPC, for Collis King and Joel Garner. And there's King, who will keep the ball to continue. That's the end of the over. It's 2 for 24. King. Continue now. Got a wicket with the very first ball he bowled, Collis King. And certainly seems to have recovered, if not entirely, certainly sufficiently for him to have taken part in this match from the acute sinus problems which have troubled him all season. Story goes in the West Indies camp that suffering from such great pain on Friday from his sinus in the hotel that almost went delirious, and Lloyd and Garner tried to hold him down. He lifted both of them up, one on each hand, so he's a pretty strong lad. Larkins, and only his second international match for the season. Played against the Australians in Sydney on Monday. Also played in the World Cup final, Wayne Larkins, for England in June, and had a most unfortunate time. He was hit all over the place by this man, Collis King. In his 2 overs, I think he gave away something like 17 runs, and then was dismissed for a duck by Joel Garner. Well fielded. Good bit of fielding there by Collis King. Good reflex action.
Nice firm drive down the wicket. Collis King sticking out that right arm of his, threatening to have a go at the stumps, but refraining. Of course, not wanting to concede any overthrows. Besides, the batsman was very near to his crease.
Through Richards, but they won't get an additional run for it. And the second maiden over in a row, and England are 2 for 24. Now Garner to Larkins. Well bowled again, right through him. Went through him in the last over, and now has done so again.
Produces some awkward bounce, Joel Garner. And he beat Peter Willey with that delivery all ends up. .223 runs required to 5.71, which is a high asking rate, with 2 wickets down, with 8 wickets in hand. In fact, it really is a difficult job England have got ahead of them.
So that rather unique advertising sign down next to the scoreboard. I think Tony, all batsmen would hope that the ball were that big, and all bowlers would hope the stumps were that high.
You certainly need an aluminium bat to handle that ball. Again, awkward bounce from Joel Garner. Difficult to force away. Of course, you can try and run it down to third man if the line is on off stump and just outside, but Clive Lloyd is in there at slip. And the keeper's there as well, and Clive standing quite wide, so you run the risk in that, if you try to do that, of getting yourself caught behind or caught at slip.
In fact, England haven't scored a run since they lost the wicket of Graham Gooch, who was bowled by Collis King in the 9th over when the score was 24. This is the 12th over and it's still 24. So they're really being pegged back. Putting a lot of pressure on the batsmen to come. David Garr, Derek Randall, Ian Botham. And of course the England tail, as we've seen consistently this season, Bairstow prominent among them, very capable of quick runs. My goodness, that was a very dangerous looking shot. The 4th maiden over in a row ended, and England are 2 for 24. King, now to Larkins. Larkins completely beaten, a good delivery there. Larkins still to score, and he's having his problems. Trying to get off the mark, just running that ball square on the offside and not far from the outside edge. Inside the ball. Decided to give it the charge, but even that doesn't get him off the mark, and one gets the impression that there's a bit of frustration creeping in here. Larkins has been there a long time. He knows that he has to get on with it. And he's got him on the helmet, I think. I don't think he's got a touch onto that, but we'll have to wait and see. Gone for 2, and it could be leg byes. No, just the touch onto it. So he's off the mark with an edge onto the helmet. I wonder when the last time Collis King hit someone in the helmet was.
Well, it's a deceptive bouncer, that, and I suspect he got a glove on that, then onto the hat. And the ball flying over the top of Clive Lloyd's head. Slightly closer view of the situation. Ducking his head down, really difficult to pick up that, but
and it's gone past this time. Slightly uppish, but he's got it through, and this will go all the way for 4 runs. That will make him feel happier, even though it was lifted slightly. It did come off the middle of the bat and ran all the way to the boundary for 4. So Larkins now 6, England 2 for 30.
a beautiful shot that, slightly uppish in the initial stages as it went past the stumps, but it certainly was middled, and Andy Roberts giving chase there but not being able to do anything about the pace of this outfield, the ball rolling right down to the deep long on boundary for 4.
He's gone through him again. Well, this is rather a hit and miss inning so far by Larkins.
delivery quite wide all the way down the pitch. Larkins perhaps a little bit frustrated by the fact that he's been pegged down and trying to get himself out of trouble.
To Haynes to end the over with England after 13 overs, 2 for 30. So the West Indies have used 3 bowlers so far, and here's Joel Garner, who has not had a run scored from him in his 2 overs to date. The bowl to Peter Willey, who is 4, 2 for 30. Really a lot of pressure now building up on them.
Well, the umpire down at Joel Garner's end is Gary Duperuzal, and it is great to see him out there. I've played in a fair few matches just recently in which umpire Duperuzal has been officiating, and in my opinion, humble as it may be, he is the best umpire in Australia. And it seems slightly strange, or even for me ridiculous, that he's not standing in a test match this year. The players respect Gary very much, and it's one of the things that's vitally important in the makeup of any umpire. Unflappable character. In this day and age, you've got to be unflappable.
And that's the first run off Joel Garner in his 3rd over. No ball, in fact, called, well, not unflappably by Gary Duperuzal. In fact, it was a good, precise, loud call. And no ball.
Well, the foot goes down now. Out goes the call, and up goes the arm. And Willie manages to force it away. Just the 1 run. He goes on to 5. Larkins has 6. 2 for 31.
About umpires, the evening papers here quoting the West Indies manager as stating that the West Indies team didn't think that the overall standard of umpiring in Australia was quite up to test level. I think this season the Australian board has given so many different umpires the opportunity. No one has really had the chance to be out there for a long period in these international matches. And of course, since the retirement of Carl Eager and Lou Rowan, there really haven't been many very experienced umpires in Australia. It's a problem which we have in the West Indies as well, because we don't have as much first-class cricket, for instance, as in England. And there are a number of observers who feel that would be desirable for former players to take up the umpiring job after they finish.
Yes, and I think I'm one of those, Tony. Of course, you missed out Tom Brooks, who was one of the greatest and fairest umpires that I ever played, or had the pleasure of playing with, if you like. We'll get back to that next over. So the score 2 for 31.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bernie, with the kiosks selling the various souvenir items will be closing very shortly. In fact, they'll be closing at 3:30. If you'd like to avail yourself of the latest cricket t-shirts, the soap in the shape of cricket balls, caricatures of your favourite players, some hats, cushions, miniature bats signed by the players, complete range of
Collis King back again. Willie the batsman.
Getting back to that umpiring situation, Tom Brooks, of course, did play first-class cricket, and he was a fine umpire, very fair man. It's a bit of a blow to see Tom disappear from the umpiring scene, but I certainly think that if the plight of the umpire, if you like, were to be highlighted.
And that's Lloyd taking the catch. Brilliantly taken by old Clive Lloyd there. 37 years of age or whatever it is, and the knees not quite what they used to be, but it certainly was a very good catch indeed. Low down at backward point.
The ball being cut away, square of the wicket, very firmly, straight at Clive Lloyd, who in fact had to move slightly to his right. Both hands there, and a very safe pair of hands he's got. 3 for 31.
Here's David Gower now coming in as the new batsman to replace Peter Willey, who has given Collis King his second wicket. Caught by Clive Lloyd at that point position. That's how Willey went. A little bit of bounce there for King, and Lloyd rolling over with the ball and clutching it and taking the catch.
Gower's a very good young player. Hasn't had a marvellous season, but did score that marvellous 98. He's 22 years of age, and his highest score in these one-day games, just 59. He's a magnificent timer of the ball, a very elegant left-hander. Averaging 22, so not that impressive for the ability which this young man has.
Of course, this match means nothing to England except in that it will decide who their opponents will be in the best-of-3 grand finals which start in Melbourne on Sunday. West Indies win here, they'll go through definitely. He didn't know where that one had gone. Tried to swing it down backward of square. Missed it. So that is the end of the over. England 3 for 31. Here's Garner, who has been very accurate indeed so far.
Gower a little while ago, or last ball, played an interesting shot, trying to pull that delivery, the ball bouncing down and rolling back towards his stumps, and He had his eye on it. And casually knocked it away from rolling onto middle stump. Apparently quite a casual customer, David Garr. Nothing really unsettles him too much.
Draining it down to third man there. Roberts, the fielder. Just getting back to the position.